First overall draft pick, league MVP, Journeyman, Stanley Cup Champion. Few careers in modern NHL history have been as fascinating, turbulent, or uniquely historic as the hockey odyssey of Taylor Hall. He was supposed to be the savior of a franchise in Edmonton. Instead, he became the centerpiece of one of the most infamous one-for-one trades in hockey history. He reached the absolute pinnacle of individual success in New Jersey, carrying a team on his back to win the Hart Trophy, and then he became the ultimate NHL nomad, suiting up for 5 different teams in a 6-year span. But just when critics were ready to label his career as a series of misconnections and unfulfilled team success, he did what no player before him had ever accomplished. He became the first player in NHL history to be drafted first overall, win an MVP, and win a Stanley Cup, all with 3 entirely different franchises. From the absolute highest of highs to the grinding low of constant trades, today I'm asking the question to you. What if the Oilers never traded Taylor Hall? Let's talk about it! What if, baby? What if the Oilers never traded Taylor Hall? That is what we're talking about today. Boys and girls, let's go, baby. Taylor Hall, Stanley Cup champion. From locker room cancer to Stanley Cup champion, from this to that, let's go. I am beyond excited for this guy, first and foremost. Just want to throw that out there. Taylor Hall was the reason I became an Oilers fan growing up. I didn't really care much about the 06 run. I was too busy playing on the playground, right? I was pretty young. But then obviously, the Oilers suck. And it's 2010, Taylor or Tyler. Oh, and that's when Trevor started, realizing what was up and started paying attention to hockey. And I was already kind of, Oilers were my team. But when I heard that they had the chance to draft Taylor Hall or Tyler Seguin, I was beyond excited because I also was just a diehard, still am, very committed to the World Juniors, and I remember watching Taylor Hall. Shout out to my dad. Those were my favorite days watching the World Juniors, and I was like, oh gosh, the Oilers suck. They could get this guy, so just huge shout out to Taylor Hall, man. I'm so pumped. Here's hoping if I ever have the chance to interview this guy, I've been in the Oilers locker room a few times now, but if I could get my full media credentials for next season, that's what I'm gunning for. That would be so sick, and I would absolutely love the opportunity to speak with Taylor Hall. That would be cool. That was my McDavid growing up, so just wanted to throw that out there. And obviously I posed the question, what if, because it was a tough day. That was one of the toughest days in my young adult life. Taylor Hall was traded, and it sucked, and it still sucks. And it's funny how it's so long ago, but right now, Taylor Hall, this version of Taylor Hall would actually be just awesome on this Oilers team. Watching the playoffs, man, I was just like, man, the Oilers kind of lack a guy like this right now. A fast, experienced winner. Now he's a winner that can score, that can contribute, that can be physical. I was like, man, this guy's just an absolute beast, and he could have won the Conn Smythe, but he didn't. Drop a comment down below. It's a sponsored segment every video right here on Above Average, brought to you by www.timetrackers.ca. If your comment gets the most likes, I'll be giving it a shout out in my next video. Leave a like for Taylor Hall. If you're a Hall fan, let's go, baby. And the question of the video, he's now got a cup. He's an MVP. Is Taylor Hall a Hall of Famer? What do you think? Those are big check marks. And then you look at his DB and you're like, okay, well, he does have a few seasons of being 50 points. Does that really ring? Does that really make you a Hall of Famer? No, probably not. I will say right now his career totals, he's got 787 points. I think if he has 1,000 points when it's all said and done, he's got the cup, he's got an MVP, then I'd give him more time. But right now it's 787 points. I don't think I'd give it to him quite yet. And obviously with the Conn Smythe, man, if he won that with 1,000 points as well, I think I'd be like, yep, that's a pretty good career. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's not there quite yet for me. But anyways, that's the question. Do you think he could be a Hall of Famer? With all that said and done, guys, let's get right into this video. What if the Oilers never traded Taylor Hall? It was June 29th, 2016. Regarded as one of the craziest moments in hockey history, definitely off the ice. Taylor Hall, 1-for-1 for Adam Larson, Obviously, Steven Stamkos, will he go to Toronto or will he stay? He decided to stay. And then there wasn't that wasn't the only one for one that happened that day. PK Subban for Shea Weber. The hockey world was stunned. But today we're focusing on Taylor Hall. And just looking back at that trade, still it burns. And especially now, as I just mentioned, the Oilers could definitely use still a player of Taylor Hall's caliber. So the question is, I've already said it, what if the Oilers didn't trade him? First off, I'll ask you this. Why did they trade him to begin with? Well, that was their first year of McDavid, Draisaitl, and Taylor Hall. All on the same team, obviously, but McDavid, he was injured. But that's it. 1 year. And 1 year was all Peter Chiarelli. He saw enough. I'm okay to make this trade. I remember going into that season saying, okay, you know what, the Oilers are, non-win now mode right now, but they will be soon enough. I think there's a few untouchables on this team. You could probably have Darnell Nurse as an untouchable at the time. Obviously, we know how that is now, though. Leon Draisaitl, another untouchable, Connor McDavid, and Taylor Hall. I thought if they were going to make a trade, it was going to be involved with Jordan Eberle or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And boy, was I wrong. To this day, I can confidently say, in Leon Draisaitl's career with the Oilers, who has been, I ask you this, who has been his best winger that's not named Connor McDavid? He had to go with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Yamamoto. That was an awesome line. Didn't really last long thanks to COVID. And then they really never found their spark, nor did the coach at the time give them any more minutes, which I can save that video for another time. But then are we talking this year, Vasily Podkolzin? Are we talking, who else? Like seriously, I'm asking you. In Leon Draisaitl's career, he has had next to no wingers. But you know who he did have? He had Taylor Hall for his first really good season as an Oiler. And boy, was that a fun line. So much to look forward to. What could that line have been? They were really just scratching the surface, scraping the surface. I don't know, one of them. But Taylor Hall, Teddy Purcell, and Leon Draisaitl. It was a good line. It was a damn good line. And it was fun. A new look line for the Oilers that I have just been so pumped to watch. And then all of a sudden you get Connor McDavid back. So why did Peter Chiarelli make the trade? Well, he wanted a defenseman that would be a cornerstone for this team for years to come. Regardless if Adam Larson ended up staying for, his next contract extension, this trade was never going to be a win. And it just blows my mind. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and this is something I've been really thinking about a lot lately. Just look at the desperation. With a lot of teams, when you get gifted the chance of drafting a Connor McDavid, a generational talent, I feel like there's this pressure you have to win immediately. And that's where the Oilers failed. They failed. They panicked. You do not panic when you have a rookie Connor McDavid. You've got nothing but a future. You have a bright future, to say the least, with not only him, but Leon Draisaitl and, a young core that's only going to continue to get better. But you panic. And I think I've been thinking about that a lot lately. They just showed so much desperation. You look at the San Jose Sharks right now. What desperation do they have? They don't. They realize their strengths, and it's their young core. And they're not going to go out there and trade Will Smith for win now because you really don't know what you have. So that's where the Oilers failed from day one. You gave it a year. It was a year where McDavid was injured for half of the season. Why? Why would you do that? You still had so much to look forward to. They were in win now mode so much when they weren't even in win now mode. They just wanted to win so bad, and it just looked so desperate. So that's the why. That's why they did it. And then there's the locker room cancer stuff, which I absolutely do not buy into at all. Taylor Hall, locker room cancer as a rookie, you know what that tells me? How soft were the veterans of the team at the time? I'm looking at the Ales Hemskys, the Ryan Smiths of the world, the Sean Horkoffs, the Dustin Penners, the Vandemirs. Who else was on that team? Like, if you're going to let this rookie player come in and be a locker room cancer, that just tells me that you guys have no control over this team, and that's an embarrassment on your part. Like, I'm sorry, but that shouldn't be the case. So the whole locker room cancer stuff, I've never bought into. Did he like to have fun? Yeah, weirdly enough, he did. And it wasn't just him. Tyler Seguin was in the same boat. Taylor and Tyler, for whatever reason, those two like to party. They like to have fun. And you could, for Taylor Hall's case, you could say that he liked to have fun maybe a little bit more than win at the time. But you're praised. You're a god. You're drafted first overall in a crazy hockey market. You're going to go have fun. What's wrong with that? Go live a little. You're only young once, right? Like, I'm not faulting him for that, because when push come to shove, you look at him now. He's a young player. He wasn't going to take that rule. But you know who was? Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. They absolutely came in to the Oilers organization, and they were very business right from the get-go. No party, no have fun. There was one thing on their mind, and it was the Stanley Cup. And for Taylor Hall, it was a beer. It was a cup of beer. That's what it was. It was a cup. It was a cup of beer, okay? There would have been the same argument for Tyler Seguin as well, except he did win as a rookie in his first year. So there's that. But I don't subscribe to any of that. Taylor Hall is a locker room cancer. Like, look at him now. So is that another reason that Peter Chiarelli, that's the why? That's why we had to get rid of this guy? We're 13 days away from it being 10 years since Taylor Hall was traded. Are you over it? Because I am. Just joking. I'm not. It still sucks. But you know what's funny? The crazy thing about this is Taylor Hall, he won an MVP. Connor McDavid, he's won an MVP. Leon Draisaitl. At one time, obviously they're not all MVPs at the same time, but in the same area, like, the Oilers had 3 freaking MVPs on their team. You trade an MVP caliber player in Taylor Hall for, I'm sorry, a top 4 defenseman at best? It's crazy. So that's the why. But here's the what if. If Taylor Hall, and this might be a hot take, you look at his DB, it obviously is not the best looking DB out there. He goes from 80 points as a career high for the Oilers, and then 38 and 53 games played. He had 65 points in 82 games played. That was his last year as an Oiler, so decent season. But it was 2 seasons after he was traded, 93 points in 76 games played, a career high, and a season good enough to win the Hart Trophy. I absolutely believe this, and if you're a Taylor Hall stan like I am, there's a 100% chance he can replicate those numbers in Edmonton. I put it at 100%. And not just one season. I think if Taylor Hall stays in Edmonton, doesn't get traded, he would be a perennial point-per-game player for the rest of his career. People are going to bring up the numbers, the highs and lows. Well, I'm sorry, he was traded. He was traded. And that's going to happen. New teams, new systems, new everything. Maybe not to the best of players, but to a lot of players, there's going to be some fluctuations in your point totals. And that's absolutely what that is. And Taylor Hall to win the Hart Trophy in New Jersey in his second year, bringing them to the playoffs eventually, was a FU to Peter Chiarelli and the Oilers, and was something he was absolutely capable of doing in Edmonton, if not more. He could have been a 100-point player in Edmonton, but for God knows whatever reason, Peter Chiarelli was so impatient, he had to make a trade before he really saw what he actually had. It was a panic move, a desperate move, and it's funny, still to this day, I said at the beginning of the video, it is hurting them, because what could the Oilers use right now? They could use a very experienced go-getter, a physical, a point producer in Taylor Hall. And that's exactly what he is. So what if the Oilers, and I'm going to do a few more of these because I really like this, and not a lot of hockey YouTube channels do this. So this is the first one I'm doing, but bear with me here. The next one I do, it's going to look a lot more. I'm going to have some pretty cool graphics that I'm going to install as well. But so this is my first get-go at what if. I haven't scripted any of this. I've just kind of been riffing. But what if Taylor Hall stayed in Edmonton? Is it crazy to think that they'd have 2 cups by now? They could even have more. Does Taylor Hall move the needle that much? I absolutely think he does, especially this version of Taylor Hall that we just saw. But I guarantee if he doesn't leave Edmonton at all, you wouldn't be getting this version of Taylor Hall at this stage of his career. You'd be getting an even better one because he wouldn't have had to deal with all the ups and downs. Like and new teams, I really do think that affected his offensive game. So if he stays in Edmonton, I still think that Taylor Hall, to this day, at his age of 34, he could be a 70 to 80 point player. I really do. Is that a hot take? Maybe. Is my bias showing? Maybe. What are your thoughts? What if Taylor Hall stayed in Edmonton? What do you think? I'm very, very curious. I read and interact with every single comment in the comment section down below. Like I said, I think it was a subscriber that said, you should do what if videos. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I should. It's off season, baby. So expect more videos like this to come. And like I said, the next one I do, it will not be Oilers related, but it will be a what if. It'll be a lot more edited. And I'll spend a lot more time on it and make it look badass. That's the plan, baby. Like I know Taylor Hall, Connor McDavid, it didn't work out. Like how many times did these guys play? Like it was a handful, hand roll the dice, like 12 times were they starting on the same line, if that, because to start the season, I honestly think it was like 3 games in, Taylor Hall and Connor McDavid were off the same line. So, and then he gets injured, and then he was playing with Leon Draisaitl and Teddy Purcell for the rest of the season. So what could have happened there, man? And, you know, obviously if it wasn't Connor McDavid, he absolutely would have excelled with Leon Draisaitl. Absolutely. So I'll just leave it at that, guys. So that concludes this video. Like I said, guys, what are your thoughts at the beginning of the video? Drop a comment down below. I read and interact with every single one. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. All the support just means so much. And it is that time of the video brought to you by www.timetrackers.ca, where they work around the clock for you. It's an Alberta-based company with clocks all over Canada. You want a nice clock like this, go check them out. www.timetrackers.ca. Okay, the most liked comment in my previous video, it was on the Oilers potentially getting Mike Babcock as their new coach, which is crazy. Most liked comment was Jackson the Cactus. Awesome opening, dude. That got 25 likes. Thank you so much, Jackson the Cactus. Really appreciate it. This was awesome. So thanks for all the continued support, guys. Truly means the world. I will see you in the next one. Don't be average when you can be above average. Peace.